Right, listen up green card holders, this is Jetset Jeremy here, and before you start packing those bags for your next adventure, you absolutely need to hear what I'm about to tell you. I've been living in the States for years now, and let me tell you, the immigration landscape has shifted more dramatically than British weather in springtime. We're talking about 4 absolutely crucial rule changes that could turn your dream holiday into an absolute nightmare at the border. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jeremy, I've got my green card, surely I'm sorted. Well, my friend, back in the day, I had one of those too, and that little piece of plastic might not be the golden ticket you think it is anymore. These new rules aren't splashed across the front pages. They're buried in policy documents thicker than yesterday's porridge, but they could completely derail your travel plans faster than you can say Bob's your uncle. I remember I went on vacation to Key West one summer on a green card, the furthest point I could go without dealing with Mr. Immigration. Picture this scenario for me. You've worked your socks off for years building a life here in America. You've got the job, the mortgage, perhaps even learnt to appreciate American coffee. Though let's be honest, it's still not a proper cuppa. You've finally planned that long overdue trip back to see the family, or maybe that bucket list vacation you've been dreaming about. Your bags are packed, passport's ready, and you're feeling rather chuffed about your upcoming adventure. But here's where things get sticky. These 4 new rules could completely blindside you, and trust me, being blindsided at immigration control is about as pleasant as a root canal performed by a trainee dentist. Some of these changes stem directly from the current political climate, which changes faster than a British person's opinion about the weather. Others are hidden in bureaucratic fine print that would put even the most dedicated civil servant to sleep. Let's dive straight into rule number 1, shall we? The travel restriction exemption that's about as straightforward as a roundabout in Milton Keynes. Now the administration has rolled out fresh travel restrictions targeting citizens from specific countries. On paper, green card holders are supposedly exempt from these restrictions. Sounds brilliant, right? Well, not quite. If your passport happens to be from one of these restricted countries, you're in for what I like to call the secondary inspection lottery. And trust me, it's not the kind of lottery you want to win. Immigration officers might pull you aside for additional questioning that could stretch longer than a queue at the post office during Christmas week. Imagine this. You've just endured a 12-hour flight, you're absolutely knackered, dying to get home to your own bed, and suddenly you're spending another 4 hours in a sterile room answering the same questions repeatedly. I've heard stories from other green card holders who've been detained simply because their citizenship aligns with a country under restriction. Some sailed through after showing their residency documentation, but others faced interrogations that would make a BBC interview look like casual small talk. The message here is crystal clear. That exemption doesn't guarantee smooth sailing. It just means you're technically allowed entry, eventually. My advice? Pack documentation like you're preparing for an audit by Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. Your green card, proof of residency, employment verification, tax records, anything that demonstrates your life is firmly planted in American soil. In today's climate, evidence is power, and you'll want all the power you can muster. If you're connecting to public Wi-Fi without a VPN while sipping your airport cappuccino whilst preparing yourself for the upcoming immigration chess, you're basically inviting an unfriendly stranger to read your emails. I use NordVPN to avoid that kind of intimacy, just saying. Moving on to rule number 2, which I fondly call the 6-month trap. Many green card holders don't realize that America has an invisible stopwatch ticking away while you're abroad. Stay outside the country for more than 6 months, and immigration officers might suspect you've abandoned your residency faster than Brits abandon outdoor barbecues when it starts drizzling. Previously, this rule was enforced about as consistently as British summer weather, but enforcement has become stricter than a Victorian headmistress. Airlines and border agents are reporting increased cases where green card holders who've been away too long face aggressive questioning upon return. Some encounter paperwork delays that stretch longer than the queue for Wimbledon tickets. Here's the crucial detail that could save your bacon. If you're planning to be away for 6 months to a year, you must apply for a re-entry permit using Form I-131 before departure. Without this document, your green card could be challenged more vigorously than a controversial VAR offside decision. Stay away for more than a year without this permit, and you risk losing your status altogether. Processing times for these permits have exploded like a poorly managed firework display. What previously took a few months now stretches considerably longer. The government operates on its own timeline, which moves about as quickly as British bureaucracy, if you catch my drift. Start your paperwork early, because waiting until the last minute is like trying to catch the last tube home on New Year's Eve. Absolutely chaotic. Rule number 3 focuses on family scrutiny that's tighter than a jar of Marmite that's been sitting in the cupboard for years. Family-based immigration has always been a common pathway to permanent residency, particularly through marriage. However, the rules surrounding family-based green cards have tightened considerably. Interviews now last longer than a Sunday roast dinner with the in-laws, with questions more detailed than a tax return. Immigration officers require deeper proof that marriages are genuine, requesting everything from joint bank accounts to social media photographs to character references from friends and neighbours. It's like having to prove your relationship is real to people who've never experienced love themselves. The movie, Green Card, seems like a comedy in comparison. This might seem unrelated to travel, but imagine leaving the country to attend a family funeral while your spouse's green card application is pending. Upon return, immigration officers now scrutinize family ties with the intensity of a detective investigating a crime scene. Even minor inconsistencies can raise red flags faster than a poorly executed magic trick. I recently heard about a couple who traveled overseas for a funeral and faced hours of questioning about their marriage simply because the husband had listed different workplaces on various forms. It was an innocent mistake, but in this climate, innocent mistakes carry the weight of intentional deception. The lesson here is clear. If your residency involves family connections, travel with extra caution and be prepared to prove what you've already proven multiple times. Now for rule number 4, which I call the rise of the premium card. This isn't fully implemented yet, but it's shaping immigration's entire future like a storm cloud gathering on the horizon. The administration has been developing a new system that prioritizes wealth and wages over traditional pathways to residency. Under this proposed system, high-paying professionals, particularly in technology, engineering, and medicine, move to the front of the immigration queue like VIP passengers boarding first class. However, if your income falls into average ranges, your chances diminish faster than British enthusiasm for queuing when someone cuts in line. This shift sends a clear message that long-term immigration status increasingly depends on your salary rather than your personal story or contributions to community life. For current green card holders travelling abroad, while these changes take effect, you might return to a system where renewals and status adjustments lean heavily on financial standing rather than established roots. This isn't merely policy adjustment, it's politics reshaping human lives. Supporters argue America needs to prioritize high-value workers, while critics contend this undermines America's fundamental identity as a land of opportunity for all. Regardless of your political stance, this direction affects every green card holder's future prospects. So what does this actually mean for you as a green card holder for any future travel plans? Your green card represents more than plastic in your wallet. It's your connection to American life, your right to work, live, and build a family here. However, in today's political climate, that right feels increasingly conditional, like a temporary privilege rather than earned status. You can still travel internationally, but don't assume your green card guarantees hassle-free airport experiences. Immigration officers face increased pressure to screen more thoroughly, and if your passport originates from a restricted country, expect questioning that might leave you feeling like a suspect rather than a legal resident returning home. The 6-month rule has evolved from technicality to litmus test. Officers now scrutinize travel duration closely, and extended absences trigger defense requirements for your right to live in the country where you've established your entire existence. This scrutiny reflects broader political tensions, as immigration remains one of Washington's hottest topics, with pressure filtering down to frontline border officers. If your residency connects to family relationships, you're under intense spotlight. Couples find themselves subjected to personal interrogations, with family documentation examined more thoroughly than archaeological artifacts. This isn't simply bureaucracy, It reflects wider American debates about residency worthiness, discussions that appear in news coverage, congressional hearings, and now airport interview rooms. The proposed premium card system signals future direction clearly. America increasingly wants wealthy immigrants rather than struggling ones. If you work as a nurse, factory employee, or student, you might feel the system values you less than billionaire tech investors. This isn't personal failure, it's politics shaping individual destinies. Here's how to protect yourself in this evolving landscape. Preparation serves as your strongest defense, like carrying an umbrella in British summertime. Plan trips with military precision, respecting the 6-month rule religiously. Even for family emergencies or business requirements, start paperwork immediately. Apply for re-entry permits if extended absence seems possible. The process is tedious and slow, but it's the difference between smooth homecoming and residency abandonment accusations. Research to see if your country of birth is one of the restricted ones this month. Carry comprehensive proof of your American life. Imagine being stopped at the border and asked to justify your continued residency. This scenario occurs regularly now. Don't rely solely on your formerly magic green card. Bring pay stubs, utility bills, lease or mortgage documents, even family photographs. Personal evidence matters in this climate, demonstrating your genuine story rather than just legal status. Organize family documentation like never before. Maintain organized files containing marriage certificates, joint bank statements, children's school records, and health insurance documentation. Officers seek proof of authentic life, and having documentation readily available can prevent problems before they escalate into major issues. Stay politically informed, because immigration transcends paperwork to become pure politics. When politicians advocate wealth-based immigration policies, these decisions filter down to how officers treat everyday people. Staying informed helps anticipate changes before they directly impact your situation. Avoid isolation during this process. Too many green card holders struggle silently with system complexities, but immigrant communities, non-profit organizations, and local religious institutions often provide free legal assistance, travel workshops, and updated policy information. Connection provides protection in an increasingly hostile environment. Consider pursuing citizenship if you've maintained green card status for required periods and meet eligibility requirements. Citizenship offers the only true security against these shifting regulatory landscapes. Thousands delay applications annually, with many regretting postponement when rules change unexpectedly. Proactive behavior is no longer optional, it's the survival strategy. Let's talk about something nobody budgets for: getting hacked in an airport lounge. When you travel, your data is exposed every time you log into a bank account, check your email, or book a flight over unsecured Wi-Fi. That's why I use NordVPN. It encrypts my connection, cloaks my digital footprint, and even lets me access websites and streaming services as if I were back home or anywhere else I choose. It's not just about security, it's about digital freedom. Plus, I often find better prices by comparing regions. Some airlines show different rates depending on where you're browsing from. NordVPN makes that kind of comparison possible. So if you're traveling without a VPN, you're not saving money, you're leaving it on the table. Use my link below for a serious discount and travel like someone who knows how the internet works. Being a green card holder in today's America can feel overwhelming, like trying to navigate London traffic during rush hour while blindfolded. Rules are complicated, politics are noisy, and every headline makes you wonder about safety for yourself and your family. However, here's the fundamental truth. You're integral to America's continuing story. Immigrants form the backbone of American growth, from factories to hospitals, from small businesses to technology startups. Green card holders like you keep this nation functioning and progressing. Yes, rules are shifting and pressure is mounting, but remember that millions before you have walked this challenging path, and millions more walk it today alongside you. Every additional document you carry, every form you file, every decision to stay informed represents more than bureaucratic compliance. You're protecting your dreams, your family's future, and your earned place in American society. Here's the hopeful element. America can change direction again. Political winds shift, policies evolve, and communities push back against unfair treatment. Immigrant voices, combined with citizens who stand in solidarity, have changed laws previously and possess power to do so again. Don't surrender hope or let fear prevent you from living fully. Travel when necessary, work diligently, raise your families, and maintain awareness of broader political currents. This situation transcends immigration to encompass America's fundamental future. When immigrants thrive, America thrives, and that's the story worth defending and fighting for. Your presence here strengthens this nation, regardless of what current political rhetoric might suggest. If this information helped you feel more prepared for upcoming travels or immigration challenges, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I dig deep into stories that directly affect your daily life because your future matters tremendously. Let me know in the comments which of these 4 rules surprised you most, and share your own experiences navigating these complex systems. Your stories, questions, and voices help ensure no one feels lost or alone in this increasingly complicated process. Safe travels, stay informed, stay strong. Cheers!